This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hello, cat lovers, cat friends, cat people. This is Michelle Fern, your host on Cattitude. Welcome. We're going to talk about litter today, but not just any type of cat litter. This one is different. And I know we've talked about litter in the past, but trust me, you're going to want to hear about this litter. It is extremely different. So please stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back after this message.
Here's an alarming statistic. More than 2/3 of dogs and cats have oral health disease by the age of 3, and one of the indicators is bad breath. Do your pets have a healthy mouth? Do you cringe when it's time for a kiss or a snuggle? Let's get to the cause. Harmful bacteria in their mouth. And bad breath is just the start. The bad bacteria cause tartar and oral disease, which can lead to serious overall health problems. It's critical to make sure your pet's oral health is the best it can be, as good dental health is key to optimizing their overall health. Now, good news. It's easy and affordable to improve their oral health with Probiora Pet. Just 1 scoop of this dental care probiotic mixed into their food daily floods the mouth with positive bacteria, which crowds out the bad. This means better oral health and fresher breath. Probiora Pet is an all-natural dental care probiotic. It's odor and taste-free, so your pets will still enjoy their chow. We want to keep your pets healthy. During National Pet Oral Health Month, our listeners can save 10%. Go to probiorapet.com and use PLR10 at checkout. That's probiorapet.com. Use PLR10 at checkout to save 10%.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to introduce Pedro Bastos. He is the CEO of Petfive, who is the parent company of Sustainably Yours. And Sustainably Yours is a newer cat litter. But guess who the spokesperson is? Jackson Galaxy, the cat daddy himself. And if you know about Jackson Galaxy, you know he never endorses any product he doesn't truly believe in. That is just a rule with him. And so Sustainably Yours must be an amazing cat litter. And Pedro is going to tell us all about it. Welcome, Pedro.
Thank you, Michelle. It's a pleasure being here.
It's wonderful to have you. Okay, I have to ask the question that is on probably most of my listeners' minds. What makes Sustainably Yours different? Because there's and I'm sure you've answered this question so many times, there's so many cat litters out there. And it's, it can be overwhelming for the new cat pet parent, even a cat pet parent that's been, buying litter for ages. And so what makes it different?
Absolutely. And you're so right in stating that it's overwhelming. And imagine for the cat that's, being put through constant changes. It's not ideal. So when we pick a new litter, we want to be sure that it's going to work. So Sustainably Yours is unique. If I were to summarize it, I would say that it is an all natural litter, meaning it's made from renewable ingredients, but it actually works. So it was really the reason for us for creating this litter, investing in research and development and coming up with what we have today was the fact that we hadn't found a litter that was sustainable, but that also did what a litter should do, which is number 1, 2, and 3 on the list of pretty much every cat parent: eliminate odor, clump really well for easy, convenient cleaning, and have no dust. So that's what we set out to create, and ultimately that we did. And we're so happy, as you mentioned, thanks for that intro, to have Jackson Galaxy on board, along with several of his cats, all of his cats using the litter today.
I have a question for you. We use this word so much, and I know what it is in compared to in other types of things, but what is sustainable when you talk about cat litter? How does that relate to cat litter?
Sure, absolutely. There are a few ways that you can look at it, but from a very simplistic standpoint, we like to think of what has been traditionally used today, primarily mineral-based cat litters in the form of clay, silica, all of them coming from mining type of activities that are extremely aggravating, from carbon emissions to just the fact that you're digging a hole to later use it in a litter box and take it to a landfill where it will not biodegrade. So when we think about sustainability, we think about the full circle and the really infinity of that circle being used from 100% plant-based renewable ingredients and having those go to landfills or wherever they may go. It could be composted, ultimately biodegrading and providing the soil with the nutrients that it needs to stay healthy. So it's that circularity when we think about, in the US, 95 million plus cats using on a monthly basis quite a large amount of mineral litters, that really alarms us and was another reason for us in creating this litter.
Okay, well, thanks for explaining that. And let's talk about some of the ingredients, because the main ingredients are corn and cassava, which I don't know what that is. So maybe you can tell us what that is. And then I have another question for you, but let's first, what is that, cassava?
Sure. And that's certainly part of the uniqueness that the litter offers. It is this unique substrate that is cassava. It's also known as, and perhaps a little less unique as it's more popularly known as, tapioca. So there might be tapioca pudding or bubble tea. You can find tapioca in it. It's a root predominantly grown in the Southern Hemisphere. It's actually widely eaten on a weekly basis by over 1 billion people across the globe. So it's very, very, and when we go back to sustainability, it's actually a very effective crop in the sense that it uses very low levels of water. So it requires not much water to grow. It's very quick in growing, so it's replenished on the same amount of land. And what's great, going back to litter, is that like corn, we use the starch component of both corn and cassava. They're very, very highly absorbent, which of course leads to that clumping. And it's also a natural binding agent, which also helps in clumping and really getting tight clumps that lock in order and that are easy to scoop out with getting that breakage that just kind of floats around in the box.
Okay. And that's great explanation. I think this can be so helpful to the pet parent. And so I'm going to be asking some of those questions that I'm sure they're thinking. So here we go with another one. There's other litters that are made with corn. I don't think they have cassava, but they're made with corn. So what would you say is the distinctive difference between your litter and the litters that are just corn-based?
Sure. So the other litters that are corn-based out there end up using a larger portion of the corn. So that includes the kernel, the entire kernel itself, and then oftentimes the cob. And those serve as ultimately just fillers. They're not absorbent and they don't act as binding agents. So at the end of the day, you're getting a larger portion of the corn that's essentially processed and put into a litter box, but with a large portion of what is ultimately in the litter box not serving the purpose of what a litter should do. So we purposefully process human grade starches with no added chemicals, which also makes it extremely safe if ingested by the cat, different from other litters that might have obviously added chemicals. And that starch, by using that component, that microcomponent within the kernel, is what allows it to be extremely effective in clumping. And also, I'd mention, is what gives it its natural light color. So a lot of the corn litters that are out there, they're a little bit darker, right? It's like a light brown, sometimes darker brown. Starch is naturally white. So that lends to our litter having that unique visual aspect as well, which has two main added benefits. One, it looks clean, nice and pretty in your litter box. You know it's clean after you've removed everything. And two, it also allows for and helps in tracking potential health issues. It could be the presence of small specks of blood in the litter and so forth.
That makes a lot of sense, and it definitely explains the difference because, like I said, there's so many out there, and so asking these questions really helps the pet parent. All right, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to be right back. Molly, here's your dinner. Zeus, that's not your food.
Don't let that happen to your precious cat. Elevate your cat's eating experience with the Cat Tree Tray.
The cat tree tray keeps your cat's food off the floor and conveniently located on the cat tree. It's the perfect way to eat. It's a beautiful wrought iron tray that easily attaches to your cat tree and keeps dogs and other critters out of your cat's dish. A must for multi-pet households. There's a 6-inch tray for large bowls and a 4-inch tray for smaller bowls. Purchase your cat tree tray today. Go right now to cattreetray.com. That's cattreetray.com. CATTREETRAY.com.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We're talking with Pedro Bastos, and we're talking about his new Sustainably Yours cat litter. So I have many more questions, but you have large and small grains in the litter. Is there a preference? Do cats really notice the difference? Or is it from stepping on it? We know they're picky. We just know cats are finicky, so maybe that's it.
Yeah, there is certainly a difference in the size that can be noted visually. So if anyone were to put both of the litters in front of you, you'd easily be able to pick out what is our multi-cat plus version, the finest granularity that we like to compare to sand. That's really the density and size of it. And then the new large grain version that we launched several months ago now, that is ultimately, I'd say, the size of maybe couscous. That's probably the best comparison. We, from the onset, set out to create this litter from a size and granule shape, also important, that would ultimately give the cat the most enjoyable experience. We really did develop this litter not only from the pet parent's standpoint, thinking through those attributes that I mentioned, but also the safety and comfort of the cat. And one of the things that practically every single vet out there said and explained to us early on several years ago was that a cat's paws are extremely sensitive, and grains, whether they're large, more importantly, pointy with kind of sharp edges, can really aggravate the cat. It can hurt them, can lead to other issues. It could ultimately really be one of the issues, one of the reasons why your cat is avoiding the litter box altogether. So in creating the large grains, we wanted to offer the consumer, the cat parent, a solution for those parents that have cats with long hair. So the long hair cats, we found that with the finer granularity, that like sand, ultimately it was sticking a little bit to the longer fur. With the slightly larger granule, but still a rounded granule, we found that it works better with longer haired cats, reduces tracking overall, while still being small enough and round enough to provide that comfort that we sought early on, since the beginning, really, to provide the cat with.
That makes a lot of sense because Dennis is a long-haired cat. He's a part Maine Coon. And yes, I do find litter sometimes sticking to him. So definitely it's a real problem and it happens a lot. Okay, so is Sustainably Yours basically for multi-cat households? Or do you have a single cat household one as well? Or just the multi-cat household covers all?
Covers all. That's a really good way to put it. And so 3 variations: the multi-cat variation, the multi-cat plus variation, and the multi-cat large grains variation. I mentioned the plus being the finer granularity. The large grains, also talked a bit about that. The multi-cat is a split mix of the two. So if you're looking for a good balance between very fast clumping, which the finer granules help with, and low tracking, you go for that middle version. That being said, they all start with multi-cat in the name, and that's because they can all serve as multi-cat solutions. But that certainly doesn't mean that if you have a single cat household, that this wouldn't be a perfect solution for you. Either any of the 3 would certainly work for any single household.
That's good to know. And plus, most cat households have 2 or more.
Yes. Cats are social beings. You know, they get hated on sometimes as antisocial. That's not true. They like having us around, and they like having their cat buddies around as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, now this has been something I've talked about over and over, but is there a special way perhaps to transition your cat from whatever litter you're using now to Sustainably Yours?
Absolutely. And this really works with every litter, and it goes back to cats being a bit finicky. and not liking certain transitions. So you want to make sure that it is a gradual transition. So we would recommend that on day one, you would put approximately 1/3 of Sustainably Yours into the litter box with whatever substrate that you're currently using. Mix it around a little bit with a litter scoop, not with your hand. Let that work for maybe 2-3 days while you're going through your daily routine of scooping. And then on the third day, add another third worth of litter, mix it again. And then right around the 7th or 8th day, you would have fully transitioned. You can swap out the box or empty the box and put in Sustainably Yours entirely. So that transition should be gradual. Now, that being said, most, I would go out on a limb saying parents don't necessarily read the instructions that are on the bag, and they go straight to putting Sustainably Yours into a new litter box entirely right next to the existing solution, or just swapping out what they're using, and cats take to it immediately. We have very few instances of cats not going to it. And I would say for two main reasons. One, it's scent free, it's unscented. One of the main reasons, amongst several others, but that Jackson Galaxy really talks highly about Sustainably Yours. Cats have they have a strong sense of smell, dozens of times stronger than ours. So you can imagine what it is to be a cat walking to a litter box with a bunch of artificial smells. So the fact that it's unscented, they take to it right away. And then the softness on the paws also allows them to have that enjoyable experience. So I would just, of course, urge cat parents to give it a try, and especially on the clumping side, seeing it is believing it. It really is shocking how well it clumps, how firm it clumps, even better than clay. So it is something that a lot of brands claim, but we really live up to it. And there are videos of Jackson Galaxy out there making clumps, throwing them around and so forth. So I would really urge people to go visit our website.
Speaking about clumps, the clumping, it will dissolve in 15 minutes, enough to go ahead and flush.
Yes,
You
it
say
will.
that is because a lot of people, live in high rises. It's not so easy to just, do the litter, put it down and, into a trash and so forth. It's just more difficult. But is that safe for all pipes? How easy is it? I know in California, it's not allowed at all.
Yes. And I was going to caveat that as well. And it's not allowed for a good reason, frankly. And when we think about sustainability at Sustainably Yours, it does go beyond the litter box. We think through, of course, what we're using for packaging, what power, renewable, now 100% renewable at our manufacturing plant. And the reason California doesn't allow that is toxoplasmosis can be harmful to pregnant women, humans, as it can be harmful to mammals. So ultimately, flushing down feces or litter that has been in contact with feces and might have that bacteria present could go through the water system and reach ultimately mammals, seals, whatever they may be. So we would urge before flushing to have some understanding of ultimately where your sewage system ends up. Not all systems end up in rivers or the ocean, right? They're treated in different ways. If you do deem that it can be flushed and safely, you're absolutely right. The litter does clump extremely well, but then upon coming in contact with water, after 15, 20 minutes max, it will slowly reabsorb water and ultimately just crumble and break up. The only ask that we would have is that for the health and comfort of your cat, you're cleaning your litter box at least once a day, preferably 2 times a day. And when you're flushing down the toilet, you're not letting 6-7 clumps accumulate and throwing them all at once and waiting 15 minutes and try to flush that down. We've had cases and there are no miracles being worked there. It's just too much matter to go down into the pipes, but it's perfectly safe once you've noticed that a clump or two have broken apart.
Well, thanks for explaining that. Now, where can people buy it?
So you can find on our website, which is sylitter.com. So SY short for Sustainably Yours, sylitter.com. You can find a store locator. And we're in about 2,000 or so neighborhood independent pet shops in every single state in the United States, as well as a large portion of Canada. And in larger store formats, you can find us at Petco, at PetSmart, and a few select places online. And last but not least, at Whole Foods. We're also there with the Multicat Plus variation that I mentioned, and more coming soon.
Wonderful. Well, Pedro, thank you so much for coming on Cattitude and telling us all, educating us all on Sustainably Yours cat litter. I wish you much success. And, Jackson Galaxy is your spokesperson. I mean, you couldn't do better than the cat daddy.
I appreciate that. And we agree with you. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Michelle.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, I hope, all of us as cat lovers and cat people, we use litter. And I really think Sustainably Yours has a lot of fantastic things going for it, being sustainable and, the clumping, and that it's, more cat friendly on their paws. So check it out. And that's at sylitter.com. And hey, I'm sure your cat will love it. Jackson Galaxy doesn't endorse everything, and he is picky when he endorses. So if he endorses Sustainably Yours, it's got to be an exceptional cat litter. I'd like to thank my guest, Pedro Bastos, for coming on Cattitude and telling us all about this wonderful new cat litter. Thanks to my cat crew, Sammy and Jethro and Charlotte and Dennis and Molly, for using litter and letting me know when it doesn't work. Hello, Charlotte. I'm talking about you. And thanks to everyone listening for keeping Cattitude as, a popular show and, kind of the place to go to find out anything and everything cat. And last but not least, but such a huge thank you to my producer, Mark Winter, for making me and my guest sound amazing. Now remember, lose the attitude, have Cattitude.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.